Namaste, dzień dobry, assalamu alaikum, ciao, konnichiwa, bonjour, hola, good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Ken at 10. How are you today? Hope you're well. We're in Southwest London, Southwest 16, as many of you will know. We're James Alexander Estate Agents. We sell, let, manage property and talk about it all day, every day, and love to do so. So if you've got a query or a question regarding property, whether you're in Norbury or anywhere else, really, you're always welcome to shoot us an email, ken@jamesalexander.com, or have a look at our podcast if you want to see some tips, hints, and tricks for your property journey. So how are you? Hope you're doing well today. Today, we are off to another Homes Under the Hammer shoot, and we're off to Somerstown, and this is a 2-bedroom house, and it's going to be a nice one. I think they're going to, well, it's actually 2.5 bedrooms, one really small, and a tiniest garden, so I'm really intrigued to see what they've done to try and improve that. It's a long time since we did what we call the first look. The first look is where we look at it just after it's bought at auction and give an idea of what we think on the numbers it might resell or re-rent for. And then on our second look, we find out what they've done, how they've done it, and give an opinion on whether we think they've done a good job, bad job, or indifferent, really. So it's always lovely to go back and see what people have done, how they've done it, and then give an opinion on values. And of course, the great thing for us is that it's BBC. And as a small company, that is invaluable. So it's fantastic for our presence, if you will. We've always been a puncher above our weight when it comes to social media, but the BBC has certainly done wonders for us on that. So all hail the BBC. I wanted to talk a little bit about housing today because one of the things that I noticed, again, Gove says that this new policy makes them look stronger. I mean, I just think they don't have a policy when it comes to housing. Here's the thing. What we tend to do is we vilify landlords, then we put taxes up for landlords on the one hand, then on the other hand, landlords leave the sector. We don't have sufficient homes for tenants that desperately need them. And therefore, the government's advices to tenants, local authorities, still today say to people that have got eviction notices, stay put, don't worry, wait until you're evicted. When they're evicted, what do? They put them in highly expensive hotels, which cost far more than the equivalent properties they could have been in the first place and are far less comfortable for the tenants as well. So here's an idea, Mr. Gove. Why don't you look at all the emergency housing costs you have that you wouldn't have if you entice more landlords back into the sector rather than vilifying them and taxing them so much that they're leaving the sector so that we can have a more equal housing system. Because at the moment, the problem is for most tenants, supply. There is no supply, and the supply problem, I believe, will get worse than we've ever seen this year, which is really sad for those struggling, especially those at the very bottom of the housing market, looking for single rooms, that sort of thing, and small self-contained units. Because, a lot of people now require smaller accommodation. We have a lot of people that are separated, divorced, widowed. And so, they need those smaller accommodations, and those smaller accommodations are so rare. And so the price of those is becoming incredible here in London. And I just don't see an end to it because all I see is really landlord bashing. They've just allocated another £1.2 million to a fighting fund up north to seek out rogue landlords. I mean, come on, that's £1.2 million that could have gone towards housing real people, or indeed building some flats that people could live in forever. So for me, they need to really do a whole 180 and look at this from a different angle. But that's my rant over for the day. Apart from that, still quite busy. Chilly here. Wow, it's got so chilly. They're saying that we should now heat our houses to 18 degrees. And sadly, a lot of people, it really is a choice between heat or eat. So it's very frustrating for people. But nonetheless, the market is really quite resilient. It's just showing how resilient it is in the properties that we have on the market have been really successfully selling. So if you are thinking of selling, it's not so much a problem with selling. The problem that you might find is that when you have sold, it's hard to find because there's not that many people that are actually selling. So that's the trick at the moment. And of course, remember those Christmas decks. No Christmas decks until you've taken those photographs for sale. Apart from that, I hope you have a fantastic day. Thanks very much for watching. We'll be back tomorrow with another edition. Till then, look after yourselves, and if you can, your family and friends. Ciao.